sit quietly. I have a reflection sheet and I will contact the parents with that. So with the behaviour plan, with the guidelines, please follow them to the T. It's, of course, you can remind kids informally, but if you feel as though if it's escalated to this level, let them know that this is your official warning. The next step will be that you have timeout, and if that continues, then you will come to the coordinator, and your parents will be notified. Please make sure that they understand the process. The program kits, educators, it is your responsibility to collect these for each session. They have your health and safety equipment, tissues, antiseptic wash. When kids arrive, we have to wash our hands always. If you're in a place where you can't wash hands, you may use the antiseptic wash, provided there are no allergies. Water, cups, all kids need access to water and cups. We actually can't use sinks that are for washing hands. So, for example, if you're in the hall over there and there are toilets, we can't use the toilet sinks for water. It's got an information folder that will have the attendance, so the kids who are here, or the kids who are enrolled. Relevant medical information. We do have children with anaphylaxis and allergies and various other asthma and medical alerts. It's really important that you do familiarise yourself with those children who are in your session. There will also be the evacuation lockdown procedures and the observation documents and sheets, which is for the educators. Now the medical conditions, parents have notified us of any anaphylaxis, asthma, allergies that the kids have. This is all in the enrolment form. If you do have any if you feel as though a child needs medical attention, you will call me straight away. Anaphylaxis is a bit different, same with an asthma attack. Moving on to first aid. If it is something, I'm the designated first aid person. If it is something that, there's 2 minutes for me to actually come to you, call up, I'll come with the first aid kit, let me know what the problem is. If it's a grazed knee, I'll bring the Band-Aids. If it's asthma, I have the asthma puffers on me. If it's medication, I have the medication in the front office. And if it's anaphylaxis, the kids will actually have a bum bag on them. If it was, if you didn't have a couple of minutes for me to get there, then you would follow the anaphylaxis plan, which explains how to administer an EpiPen. If it's an allergic reaction and it needs to be dealt with, we also have numbers for Hatzola, myself. Always go with the emergency. If it's an emergency, please follow the emergency procedure and call Hatzola, and then call me, and then we can call parents. The people who have anaphylaxis in their clubs, I will speak to you separately about how to administer and what to do in the event that something happens. Any medication that is administered must be supervised by 2 people. If someone does need medication, please call me. I will come with the medication form. Someone will need to supervise me doing it, and we'll sign to say that there were 2 people who witnessed the medication. And have we got to first aid yet? Not yet. With first aid, anything that, any bumps to the head, definitely bumps to the head, and any time a child hurts themselves, we must notify the parents. If someone falls over, hurts their knee, grazes their elbow, and anything more serious, please call me. I will come with a first aid kit and I will fill in the first aid form and get parents to sign it. But a first aid form must be filled in. So these are the kinds of things that an assessor may want to know about. What would happen if a child hurt themselves? What would you do? Who would you call? What procedure would you follow? Now, we did have a fire and lockdown drill at the end of last term. I'm just going to pass around the emergency procedures. There are 2 in each file, so if you could just take one and pass one along. Thank you. In the event of a fire, we walk down the stairs, through the playground and to where the high school is. It's on the map. In the event of a lockdown, we turn off any electronics, any lights, and we move ourselves and the children to a safe and secure place within that room. So as far away from the windows as you can, hiding, I guess. With a fire, we need to line up the children at the exit, make sure everyone's in a line, make sure we take a roll, check that all the children are accounted for. Then we walk them across to where the assembly area is. I check the building and then I will come and make sure that every club or incursion is accounted for. So that's why it's really important that we do know who is in attendance to make sure that we're not sure if we are missing somebody.
And we will be doing drills once a term.
Yes, once a term. Thank you to the people who allowed us to do the fire drills last term. I understand that it's a bit, it takes out of the incursion time, but we do need to do it, and it is good to know because sometimes we do have to actually do them. Accidents and first aid, please call me. Anything that happens needs to be reported. Injury, accident, illness, anything happens, please just call me and I'll come and make sure that it's dealt with appropriately. Supervision, as I said, Diddy and myself, we're the qualified. There's one of us to every 30 children. Educators, it's really important that if you notice that you've got too many kids in your care or if there's an educator missing from somewhere, that you let us know. There's one educator that is working towards Cert 3 or has Cert 3 to every 15 children. So that should cover most clubs. One educator will cover one club. And the unqualified instructors, because you don't hold a qualification, we can't count you towards the ratios. I know that you're wonderful at supervising, as you're very capable, but technically we can't count you into the ratios. So it's important that your Cert 3 educator is there with you at all times. Please do not let anyone leave you alone with the kids. We have to have the Cert 3 educator there. If anyone needs to go for drink, toilet, forgot something, please just call me. I'll come, I'll fill in, or I'll make sure that someone is there to help supervise. With the toilets, a little change in the way that we're running the toilet procedure. All children need to go to the toilet in pairs. Please don't allow more than 2 children to go at a time, otherwise it ends up with party in the toilets. I'll be supervising that area as well, but just 2 at a time. Because we can't have, we wouldn't want a situation where an adult was using the toilet, the same toilet as a children. Any staff member, please come up to the art rooms. It's right at the top of the building and there are toilets there. We just don't want adults and children in the same toilet. So adults are upstairs in the art room. I know it's inconvenient, you have to walk upstairs, but we've got the other 2 levels for the other 3 levels for the kids. Hygiene, everyone, all the children need to wash their hands when they arrive. Includes cooking, but includes any other activity to prevent germs from, entering the clubs. After the bathroom, please remind children, particularly younger kids, after outdoor play, and definitely before touching food, there is the antibacterial gel in the kits if you need that for your incursion. People who have food in the kids lounge and in the tuition, please make sure anyone handling food has got gloves on, and if it's like a platter, then make sure that there are utensils, that there's no bare hands just going into the pile of food. Emergency contact, if you need anything, not sure, just have a question, please call me. And anything you're not sure about, just call and check. I would rather you call and ask a silly question than not call and not be sure, particularly if it's to do with a policy or a procedure, or if you're not sure if you're allowed to do something or whatever it is. Please just call. Now, the kids lounge, this is part of our operating as an out-of-school hours care, that we have an area where children are able to take on spontaneous experiences, where it's recreational and they can relax. So that area will primarily be driven by the children's interests and what the children would like to do. So the girls who are working in that area, I will speak to you more specifically once we start getting up and running about how we're going to plan and program for that room specifically, because there's a little bit more that needs to happen in terms of having a look at what the children are interested in and making decisions based on that. Things like sustainability. We've got lots of good things here, like lights that turn off when there's no one in the room, toilets that have a dual flush, taps that shut off automatically. It's really great if in your interactions with the kids, you could remind them of these things, particularly younger kids, but also with the older kids. It was really great to see the art club, or the now art incursion. They use a lot of recycled materials for what they were working on. It's fantastic if you could actually alert the children to that, to bring their attention to it, that we didn't just throw out these things, that we've actually put them to a good use. So any time where you can sort of think, maybe I could remind the kids about this, or we could use this in another way, recycling, reminding the kids to put the paper in the recycling bin, or whatever it is. If you could just in both your program and just your interactions with the kids, anything that we can do to promote sustainable practices would be really helpful. If you have any parents who could help drop things off, any recycled materials, we love it, that's great. There'll be a box at the front office for it. Sun protection, anyone going outside in terms 1 and 4. Please make sure you've got a hat on and sunscreen before 5 p.m. So that's probably most applicable for Kids Lounge and sports incursions. As part of our programming and documentation requirements, we need to think about how we're going to be running the lessons with the children, and reflecting and evaluating on how those lessons went. At the end, I'm going to hand this one out to the instructors for last term and for this term. The yellow areas are for the instructors. The blue areas are for the educators, and the green area is for me. The planning and the evaluation, it only needs to be brief. To put it into perspective, you might see these children for 1 hour a week.